Now comes the confusing part. Luke says, and he was perplexed because that it was said of some that John was risen from the dead. Later on, in the next couple verses, in all three, it gives a little bit of an explanation that John the Baptist was beheaded. But that was in a time past, so now he's just saying, some people are saying John the Baptist rose from the dead, so Luke is saying he was perplexed because it was said by other people of some that John was risen from the dead. Mark, he said John the Baptist was risen from the dead. Therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. This guy, Jesus, who he believes is John the Baptist. Matthew, and said to his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead. Therefore mighty works do show forth themselves in him. Luke is pretty clear. He's not saying John the Baptist is raised from the dead. It says he's perplexed. He's confused. He's not scared and fearful because he believes that John the Baptist is risen from the dead. It says here in Luke, he's perplexed because it was said by other people, John the Baptist is raised from the dead. And then it says later, in verse 9, Herod said, John have I beheaded. Who is this, whom I hear such things? And then it gets even worse at the end of verse 9, and he desired to see him. He wants to know who this guy is. So, at least according to Luke, he doesn't think this is John the Baptist. He thinks this is someone else, but he's confused because other people say so. However, Matthew and Mark agree that he's saying it is John the Baptist. Matthew 14:2, he said to his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead. Mark, and he said that John the Baptist was risen from the dead. So he's saying, yeah, that's John the Baptist. So I think I'm going to go with the majority witness, Matthew and Mark, instead of with Luke. It's too different to put them both together. I can't have him saying this is John the Baptist and have him saying who is this? No, they don't fit. Maybe I could have all that's written in Luke first. That he was at first perplexed because he heard from other people say John the Baptist was risen from the dead, and that some say Elijah had appeared, others that one of the old prophets was risen, and then still at the beginning Herod said, John I beheaded, who is this, of whom I hear such things? Then, before and he desired to see him, I could have, this is John the Baptist, who is risen from the dead. Maybe I could have what is said in Luke first, that he's confused, he hears the rumor, he doesn't know who it is, and then he kind of, maybe over time, answers his own question by going along with the rumors and saying, yeah, it's got to be John the Baptist risen from the dead. And then at the very end, he desired to see him. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So before he said, this is John the Baptist, before he says, John the Baptist is risen from the dead, I'll put what's written in Luke. Herod the Tetrarch heard of what was done by him and was perplexed. So this is all Luke. And he was perplexed because that it was said of some that John was risen from the dead. I think the best way to show that Herod's opinion had changed about Jesus, and now he believed that it actually was John the Baptist risen from the dead, is to have how it's written in Matthew, for him to say, "This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead." As I said earlier, I don't want to have it written 3 times saying that John the Baptist was risen from the dead by those who were spreading the rumors, as mentioned in Luke, spoken of by Herod the first time in Mark, possibly also that's the first time in Matthew, and then the second time in Mark. So, since I already used the one in Luke, because that it was said of some that John was risen from the dead, and because I know that the best way to then show Herod changed his opinion, because again, that's the only way I can get it to work between Luke and Matthew and Mark, that at first he was perplexed, then he gave in. The change would be to say, "This is John the Baptist." And I would put that after Mark when he said, "But when Herod heard thereof, he said, 'This is John the Baptist.'" So because I'm going to go with "This is John" at the end, I'm going to have it, "This is John the Baptist." And since I'm going to have "This is John the Baptist" at the end, it means that that second time it's mentioned in Mark, where it says "It is John," I'm going to change that to "This is John," add "the Baptist" from Matthew. But then earlier in Mark, where it says, "And he said that John the Baptist was risen from the dead," I'm going to combine that with what I already have from Luke, where he heard the rumors. Someone said that John was risen from the dead. Because there are a few Johns. John the Disciple and John the Baptist. I want it to be super clear this is John the Baptist. So I'll combine the first mention in Mark, even though he's saying it, with when he hears the rumors. And it has that. So that and John was risen from the dead. All of that is both Luke and Mark. I'm going to add "the Baptist" right after John. Risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works show them forth themselves. No, but I'm not going to put that here yet. I'll put that at the end, when he believes this rumor.